Picture this. A team of young, ambitious adventurers have entered the local sphere of interfactional conflict. Seizing the opportunity to bring new blood into the fold of their operations, these adventurers are offered lucrative opportunities to test their mettle and display their value. The adventurers take these offers into consideration and promptly reject all of them. The rewards are tempting, but these adventurers have their own ideas about what is best for themselves and for the region, and these ideas may not mesh with the established forces. These players want to build a powerful ship and rule trade routes, or establish their own tower of sorcery to tilt the balance of magic in the region. These are the plans that you are going to have to consider if you want to run the campaign format that I like to call the Radius. So we've talked about the Fire Brigade and menu formats already. These are both very directive and narrative-driven formats, meaning that the GM is primarily responsible for the plot while the players are more focused on the implementation of their characters' powers and abilities and their interactions with each other and the NPCs. For the Radius and our next two formats, the Trek and the Zen Garden, more of the plot is shifted to the players. Conversely, the GM work begins to require more improv and more prep that facilitates improv. Because in these intermediate campaign formats, the players are going to potentially be adding, dropping, changing, or even combining their plans in unexpected ways. And yes, I have had to improv entire sessions when my players drop a new ambitious surprise in my lap. Another big change is the way that arcs are handled. In the Fire Brigade and the menu, the criteria for success and the potential rewards are mostly outlined to the players, leaving a little wiggle room for the GM to insert some surprises and twists as well as a chance for that coveted bit of extra gold. But now arcs become less direct up front, but the players have the chance to pursue rewards that might be more suited to their chosen ambitions. We'll discuss more of that when we get to the arc prep, but for now we need to broaden our approach and talk about... For this campaign format, you'll want to settle down what the region has to offer for the players. Is it a landlocked campaign in constant need of irrigation and new water sources? Is it a seaside campaign where the dominant transportation is constantly in flux as new trade routes are discovered? Are there dinosaurs and can they be domesticated? Maybe consider doing a sort of session where your players can make additions related to what they'd like to see and engage with in such a place. You're going to need this material because you're going to need some idea of what your players want to do within your collective world concept. Now may be a good time to explain what the format of the Radius means. The Radius means you still have a central hub, but that hub needs to be bigger. And certain arcs will take the players away from their hub, but most often they have to come back to reap the full rewards of their efforts. Other arcs will never leave the hub, as the increased scale allows players more options for activities with the various powers within. You need a decent-sized known world, an established map that can be consulted to look for the opportunities and resources outside of the hub, where the players can go fulfill their goals. Outside of the known world, though, you have an unmapped unknown world. Unknown, at least, to the people of your hub. This is a region of rumor and speculation. People from your hub may have heard things and repeat legends, but nothing that can be verified. How much of this do you need to prep? You definitely need details for your hub, but poke a few holes in it here and there to give yourself a way to add things later. Kind of like when your favorite video or computer RPG opens up a previously inaccessible house to use when the new DLC drops. For your known region, you need a broad outline of the area, climate and topology and how they blend together. You do need a couple of well-defined areas, other villages, fortresses, docks, villainous camps, whatever is best for your campaign. But again, make some gaps to add new things, and make those gaps a little bigger than the holes you poked in your hub. For your unknown region, you don't have to plan anything. This region only exists so that you can just fabricate additions according to the developing direction of the game. Do the players need a volcano so they can forge the ultimate sword of sorting? You can just drop that anywhere in your unknown region, plot out a few clues to its location, and create some complications and potential bonuses on the way there. And you're all set. Does this mean your final map at the end of the campaign might not make much topographical sense? Yes, that's okay, as long as it's fun. What you don't need to prep is a strict narrative plot. You might want to have a loose framework of one just in case the players can't come up with their own direction. You do need to make regular assessments on the impact of the PC's actions to determine how many residents and factions within the hub might respond to their efforts. And there's no reason you can't have a temporary menu available for the players to browse while they work out where they want their ambitions to take them. I'm reminded a bit of Matt Mercer's Town Crier from Midway in the first arc of Campaign 2 of Critical Role, who would just walk by during slow moments and announce things that the players could jump into. It doesn't have to be a conspicuous job board at the local Adventurers Guild. The first thing to know about arc prep in these intermediate campaign formats, you will not be able to complete all of your prep until after the players have chosen the direction. It could be 2 hours and 5 minutes into your session before the players have made their plan of action. You might have had 10 to 15 minutes where you were able to listen quietly, but that's it. The players want to go and you need to be ready. Now, if you've planned arcs before, you can compose your 5 questions on the fly. The important difference is that your players don't necessarily know all 5 questions and have to start with an incomplete and potentially risky picture of what is to come. Some examples. The water level of the local stream that powers the hub's mills has started to fall. The mill staff are willing to hire someone to look into it, so the culprit lies upstream. The players need to get the water back to its original level, and they know what the mill is getting out of it, but they don't know the cause or what opposition might be behind it. A team of extortionists are demanding a cut from the local shops, and the violence may escalate as the extortion spreads and the tribute increases. The players know they're stopping a crime and know some of what they might be dealing with, but not the full extent or what it takes to break up the gang or even where to go. The City Council takes bids on excursions to the outlying areas, giving explorers the first crack at new resources and routes. The bidding process is open. There is a definite coordinate location and a risk that someone else might put in a lower bid or offer to go sooner, and the discovery could be a complete gamble for the players, potentially lucrative, potentially worthless. A local inventor has a miraculous device that he's never quite gotten to work due to a lack of a particular material. He doesn't know where to get it. This potential arc is very open-ended. The parameter for success is clear, but where to go and what might be encountered is unknown. In each case, something is hidden from the players that makes the value of an arc difficult to weigh. The more open-ended nature of each arc gives the players a chance to adjust the parameters and negotiate the reward that is best suited to the characters they are playing. Consider the mill once again. One team of adventurers might undertake the quest quickly and selflessly, and from this they might also gain a reputation as do-gooders, with one of the mill families offering modest shelter and free meals for a while, which reduces the PC's lifestyle costs. But another team of adventurers might wait until the river level gets lower and the mill staff gets more desperate and more willing to dip into their reserves and savings to get things running again. A third, more industrious team might negotiate the use of the sawmill to prep framework for a ship, or beams for their own shop, or inner headquarters. Regardless, the arc itself should have some monetary or item reward, not necessarily from the mill operators. In this case, maybe some valuables found their way into the dam, or maybe the dire beaver pelts themselves could be worth something. You can apply a similar process to the extortionists, the city council, or the inventor. Session prep itself changes a little. Continue to introduce encounters and scenarios, taking into account the local environment and new NPCs the players may have encountered. However, you may need to turn some of your session prep into campaign or arc prep, especially if your PCs are headed into those less defined parts of your hub, known regions, or the completely empty unknown regions. And you should expect the early sessions of your Radius arcs to require more prep than you'd typically see in the menu or the Fire Brigade. But as with our previous campaign formats, as the arc moves along, session prep becomes easier. What you do with your surplus time changes though. It is possible to anticipate where players may go for the next arc and begin assembling what you need for that, but when you run an intermediate format like this, you have to take into account that the direction lies more in the player's hands. There are other ways to use surplus prep time, building maps for your player's new property, stats for reward items, a schedule of rewards the players may have negotiated, or stats for new NPC followers or associates the PCs may have met. And that's the Radius. The players go out, but most often they return to the core. But their journey is based more on their own ambitions rather than the narrative built by the GM. Have you tried this campaign format, or maybe call it by a different name? Let me know in the comments, hit all the usual YouTube buttons, and happy gaming.